Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's going on, Fantasy Champs? My name is Morgan Colby. I got Ricardo Lemonski. How many times can I say your name completely incorrectly?
You could do it as much as you want, bro.
Okay. Sounds good, because I will, without your consent.
Of course. Okay, thanks.
But anyway, yeah, Rick Lemon with me as always. Poppin' Rick.
What's up?
Today we are going to bring you part 2 of the NFL draft winners and losers. We were going to do a rookie mock on Thursday, which we'll either push back and cancel a different show or continue. But I feel like we need to really break down some of these players and some of their landing spots.
We'll probably do a mock draft.
Getting advice and insight on some of these players and where they're going and whether it's a good landing spot for them or not is super important to your success in rookie drafts coming up. And there's some guys that we might hit on super late in the draft that we like as potential taxi squad guys. For guys we like to put deep in your lineup if we have enough time. But so we're going to talk about some winners and losers. Before we do that, check out our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcast platforms, please leave a review or share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, comment down below. Let's just jump right back in like we never stopped.
Sure, let's do it.
Round 2 of the NFL draft came up on Friday. Was it Friday night, 7 p.m.?
Friday night, yep.
So the NFL draft started, and this round actually I think was the besides the third round and the fourth round, this round was the most skill position players that were drafted in the draft.
Of course, I missed the whole thing.
And it wasn't even second and third round are the most of all the days, I believe. So, I could be wrong on that, but anyway.
I think fourth round has the most.
Fourth round has the most, but second and third round combined dominate.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But anyway, so we've talked about just a preface on before we jump in. This is where a lot of the running backs will come into play. Fourth round is an area where, if a running back gets drafted in the fourth round or later, it is very unlikely for them to make an impact year one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if Ramondre made an impact that much in fantasy, but he's one of those outlier players. But usually a fourth round pick or later at the running back position kind of falls off a cliff. Fourth round wide receivers can happen. We've seen that with plenty of guys in the NFL. I'm talking about year one success for redraft. Obviously, fourth round wide receivers are smash drafts, you know what I mean, in rookie drafts and stuff like that. But even for rookie drafts, fourth to seventh round running backs are very hard to hit on. You have to get lucky and hope that something happens where
Elijah Mitchell, right?
Elijah Mitchell,
was he sixth round?
Yeah. So we got some guys that we're going to talk about here, second, third round, that are going to be good. But once we hit fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, then those guys are definitely going to be a little bit out there in terms of draft selection. So anyway, let's jump right in with that preface and start with Christian Watson to Green Bay at the 202. Winner, chicken dinner, smash and a half, dynasty and redraft. This guy has got to be, if he wasn't before, which he was not on my rookie rankings at the wide receiver position. He was the wide receiver 6 on my rookie wide receivers rankings. This guy, to me, has to jump into your top 5. And I don't know if you disagree with that, Rick, but
top 5?
Yeah, there's no one, not top 5 in the draft total. I mean, like at the wide receiver position.
Right. So that would have to kick out one of the guys we talked about yesterday.
Yes.
Or a couple of the guys.
I'll put out at some point some rookie rankings, but
you would have him higher than Jameson Williams?
No, I'd probably have him higher than
Olave?
Maybe.
See, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know.
I could see you saying 6.
This is a great landing spot. It's too much.
I know it is.
Don't make me rank now.
Okay, I'll let you decide later. He was my wide receiver 8 pre-draft, and he jumped up to wide receiver 6 with this.
Okay, so he was my wide receiver. You see, this is the difference, though. He was my wide receiver 6 pre-draft,
right?
And now he's a little bit higher. But the Green Bay landing spot is
fantastic,
a 100% winner. And there's they have some receivers there, but nothing that's going to be like, okay, I've seen comps too, because this guy was not one of the most talented receivers in the class. And he certainly was not categorized as one of the top 3 guys in the class. So, Green Bay goes out and drafts Christian. I talked about this before when we were talking about mock drafts last week. Like, if Christian Watson goes to the Packers, I'm going to be all over it. And I got to keep that promise. So, but Christian Watson going to the Packers, I mean, this is a smash draft. It's 100% winner. So, and I feel like this is one of those spots where I feel like he's going to get a lot of opportunity up front.
Yep.
But there's also this reality that Aaron Rodgers doesn't really like throwing to rookie wide receivers.
Yep.
And I've heard that before. But I've heard that Christian Watson, I heard this take the other day, that he's essentially, who's the other guy they had? MVS.
Yeah.
For them. And
he basically is MVS with higher upside.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You don't think Christian Watson has higher upside than MVS?
No, but I don't like the comp. I don't think that comp makes sense.
Oh. It's because MVS was like a tall, lengthy, speedy receiver, which is...
So MVS is 6'4", 206, 437 speed, right?
Yep.
Christian Watson is not the same. Like, he's tall, but he's...
I think build-wise...
He's 6'4". Yeah, he is 6'4", 208, so he is the same. A little faster, but...
Yeah. But in terms of, talent, I don't know...
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same player.
I think Watson
came out of nowhere. He was like a sixth round pick or whatever.
Yeah. I think Watson's a little better, and I'm not even pre-draft wasn't crazy high on him. But I've seen arguments against Watson saying why would you draft this guy? He landed a good landing spot, but he wasn't productive in college, and it's he was at North Dakota State. He was productive in college on a team that ran the ball majority of the time. They had a game.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who said this. I think it might have been Chris Sims listening to his podcast. North Dakota State had a game this year where Christian Watson, statistically, 1 catch for 24 yards, right?
Wow.
So he's not productive. They ran the ball the entire game. They had 5 pass attempts. And he had 2 of the 5 targets.
Yeah, 2 of the 5 targets. Yeah, so that's like a 50, 60, 70% target share.
Right. I was saying this is of course he didn't produce, but he was still the wide receiver 1 on the team when he was out there.
I just think going to the Green Bay Packers and having Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, this is arguably the best quarterback that any of these wide receivers could have played for. And that's why I think Watson needs to be at least close to the top 5.
Right. No, that's fair. I think it's definitely a home run landing spot. I will give you that. It is 100% a home run. Green Bay was the best spot.
The talent is a lot of question, but I felt like if Watson went to Atlanta, then I would have been ugh. This is not good. He might get target share, but it's not a good... he's not a super talented receiver. Talent is not why he's 202. He just ran a really fast 40 time, and he has a good build. And he really needed a good landing spot in order to be considered in that top conversation. And I think people are overplaying draft capital and all of that stuff too. Devontae Adams, I think, was a 3rd round, 4th round pick, if I was wrong. He was 221, 2nd round pick in 2014. So I feel like it's very similar in that kind of conversation. I'm not saying that they're the same player, because they're not, but that's what they're bringing him in to do. So
yeah,
I think it's a winner landing spot. But
no, I agreed.
all right, let's talk about some running backs finally. 204, Breece Hall to the New York Jets, lands on a team with multiple running backs and San Francisco DNA.
Yeah,
washing off all over these AFC East teams. So we have Breece Hall in this backfield, Michael Carter. I heard this landing spot and I almost puked in my mouth.
me too.
I was like, no way. I'm like, anywhere else. I would even, like, it's another one of those picks where it's like, if the Jets blow,
Yeah,
Breece Hall is going to be a bust and a half. Like,
well, it's less so for him than Wilson because if the Jets blow, like if Zach Wilson blows, they'll still run the ball. It's just going to take away his touchdown production,
which takes away a lot of his upside.
Yes, it does. It does. But he'll at least still get carries and touches.
Now, I would have said with this landing spot, if you just were to make me blind and not show me Kenneth Walker to Seattle, which is the next one we'll talk about.
Yep.
I would have been like, oh, God, Breece Hall's got to move down my board.
Yep, that's fair.
But that is still not in the question anymore because of the other landing spot for the other guy, which we'll get to. But I think this is a loser landing spot. I do think, like, because there's a lot of people that are arguing, is Breece Hall going to get pass catching work for the Jets?
Yeah.
Is he going to? Is Michael Carter going to take
yes.
that?
I've seen everybody say yes. I am not sure he's going to get the pat. I'm not worried about Michael Carter stealing many carries from him. Like they took him 2-4, the 4th overall pick in the second round, essentially a first round running back. He's going to get the carries. He's going to be the main player, the main workhorse type running back. But when it comes to the targets, I don't know if he's going to get a lot of them with Michael Carter there. I still think Michael Carter is there for a role, and he's going to be a third down back.
Yeah, there's no 3 down. Like last year when Najee went to Pittsburgh, it was clear that he was going to get a 3 down role, that all the running backs on the roster were going to take a seat, and Najee was going to be the guy. Here, to me, I think that you're going to see, like, and if we're going to be honest, Michael Carter is not even that scary of a.
No, he's not.
Like Breece Hall could just say frick you and overtake him, and then he could be a workhorse. But I feel like Breece Hall is going to be, and honestly, if you believe in the talent, then you should believe that he's just going to overtake Michael Carter.
Which I do.
But knowing that the San Francisco 49ers is influenced in that offensive system, they're probably going to try to go with multiple running backs, and I would guess that Breece Hall and Michael Carter are going to split in some way, whether it's pass catching to Michael Carter or Breece Hall, or maybe a little bit of rushing split there. But I think Breece Hall will be a 2 down back and a goal line guy, and Michael Carter will be the pass catching guy, and he'll be on pass catching downs. So we'll see what happens with Breece Hall, but I'm not excited about the Jets landing spot. If the Jets actually have a good offense with Zach, we should be fine. But
yeah, if the Jets if Zach Wilson takes that next step and the Jets offense plays to what they're capable of.
What's the next step? The same numbers as Mac Jones?
I think he could be better. I would expect him to be better than that.
Okay. The 9 touchdowns.
In terms of like, I know, but he only played in like
a huge step for him would be 20 touchdowns and 13 picks.
Yeah.
That would be huge.
I would want a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he needs to throw 30 touchdowns and 4,600 yards, but like, what did Max throw? 23 touchdowns?
Yeah, something like that.
I'd want to see like 25, 26.
Fair enough.
And then just the offense as a whole be better. Like, he doesn't even have to throw a ton of touchdowns, but like get them in scoring position and let Breece Hall run it up in the end zone. So I'd say it's a loser landing spot too, but he's still, if you need a running back, he's still probably my 101.
Okay. That's fair enough. Kenneth Walker, 209 to Seattle. Another loser.
This one I threw up in my mouth.
I don't know what to say about this one. If this doesn't make you, and just on sheer I don't know. This guy, Kenneth Walker, was my favorite running back, and he might move down to running back 3 for me just on this landing spot alone. You have Chris Carson there, who honestly, Rick, I don't know if you disagree with me, but Carson might be on the bubble in Seattle.
The bubble of getting cut?
Yeah.
I think he's pretty much as good as gone.
Yeah, I think he's going to be done. And so with that being said, I think Penny's going to go back to his 3rd down, 0 roll over there, and Kenneth Walker will take most of the work. Seattle's offense is bad, but I don't think that this is actually going to be as bad as it looks for people. But if Chris Carson is there and Rashad Penny is there and Kenneth Walker's taken as the second running back off the board at 209, and he ends up the 3rd back or maybe the 2nd back,
yeah,
this looks like, to me, in Dynasty, I think it's a good pick to take him because I think at some point he'll overtake the work. But
yeah,
I think the big problem because we just said Carson will be gone. And I think they're anticipating, they re-signed Penny, right?
They did.
So I think they're anticipating that either Penny's going to be hurt or that he's their 3rd guy. How many years? Was it 1?
I'm looking it up. So while I was looking it up, though, I did see that it is a 1-year deal, but it's $5 million, up to $5 million.
Yeah. So I feel like Penny. They're going to say, they're giving him an opportunity here and saying, okay, we're going to give you the keys. You're Chris Carson now.
Yeah. So
if you suck, we're not re-signing you and Walker's taking the job.
Pete Carroll said that one of the reasons Seahawks picked Kenneth Walker is part due to uncertainty of Chris Carson's health and future.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really think Chris Carson's in the picture. And it's so funny because to see the community split on this, there's a lot of people that really hate it, the landing spot, and there's people that love it and think Kenneth Walker should be the 101. And I've seen both arguments, and I'm trying really hard to be on the Kenneth Walker 101 side because I'm in a league where I desperately need a running back and I have the 3rd overall pick.
You need Walker to be.
And I need Walker. So I've been trying to convince myself to just sit pat and take him. But it's hard. I've seen the arguments for the Seahawks being a good landing spot because the Seahawks run the ball a lot. I don't think that's a good enough
analysis
reasoning. Yeah. I'm not worried about Chris Carson. And even Penny, I'm kind of worried about short term. I'm not worried about him long term. What I'm worried about is the Seahawks offense and the Seahawks team. At least in the short term.
Why you don't like Drew Lock?
I think no, I don't. That landing spot year 1 is going to suck, and running backs don't exactly have longevity. So yes, long term, is it a good spot for Kenneth Walker? Sure.
Yeah.
But what, are we gonna wait until year 3 where he breaks out and then he's good for 2 years?
Yeah, especially when you're talking about in dynasty rookie drafts, you're
drafting a running back to put him in.
Yeah, week 1.
Yes.
And Kenneth Walker is going to be
in the top 5 at least.
Now, hey, who knows? Maybe all Drew Lock needed was Pete Carroll.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But who knows? Maybe you are right.
Another dumb team that passed on Malik Willis.
I will say Seahawks is a loser landing spot.
Yep.
And I would probably take our top 3 receivers we talked about yesterday, Treylon Burks, or the other day, Garrett Wilson, Drake London.
Yep.
I would take all those 3 guys before I take Kenneth Walker.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's talk about the 211, go on some wide receivers. We're going to talk quickly about these guys. Wandel Robinson, I think this is a loser landing spot to the Giants.
Yes.
I don't know about Rick, but I had a rant that I went off prior to the show to Rick. I've been seeing some people say, obviously I think I agree. And I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but I kind of agree with people who say that this might spell the end for Kadarius Toney in New York. The reason why I say that is because he was already rumored to be traded prior to the draft, and so then going out and drafting a wide receiver in the 2nd round, that kind of just shows me either they want to double down on the receivers, or they actually are trying to trade Kadarius Toney. Now, prior to the show, people have been tweeting that, Wandel Robinson is better than some of the other guys that we've discussed at the wide receiver position. He should be a top 5 wide receiver. Some people like him like in the top 3.
Yeah, he's not even in my top 10, or even top 12.
He wasn't in my top 10 pre-draft. He's not in my top 10 now. And going to the Giants does not change that, even if Kadarius Toney leaves, right? I think Kadarius Toney is a better wide receiver than Wandel Robinson. I think the Giants are making a massive mistake getting rid of Toney and going with this kid. And this to me, I don't like to call like rookies busts because we really don't know what we're going to get out of them. But this guy to me is going to be a huge bust for the Giants and a huge bust in fantasy. And I don't listen to the people who are telling you to run out and trade all your value to get him. If anything, trade out of this class and go wait for 23 because this pick is just a bad one. This is a bad location, bad pick.
I'm with you. I do think if they trade Kadarius Toney, I would move him up for sure because he's going to get the opportunity, and I think he's an okay player, so he'll do decent in that spot. But as of what we're looking at right now today in the Giants team, that Giants roster, he's the wide receiver, 4 on the team?
Yeah.
In a not great offense already?
Right.
Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And then long term, I don't know, because if they end up trading Toney, it's different. But if they don't, he's under contract the next 3 years. Sterling Shepard, they just signed Kenny Golladay last year. He's going to be there a couple of years. So you'd have to expect Daniel Jones to take a massive leap for Wandel Robinson to have really any relevant fantasy value.
I agree.
Yep. And I don't see that happening. So this is a loser landing spot big time, in my opinion.
Yep. And a bad pick for the Giants, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, 212, my guy.
This is your guy.
John Mechie. The NFL agrees with me. Or at least the Houston Texans do. I don't know if that's good company. I'm gonna say this is a loser landing spot as well. But hey, quarterback's okay.
So I was gonna say this is a winner landing spot.
Oh,
John Mechie.
Okay, I actually, you know what? I'll revise that because there isn't any receivers in besides Brandon Cooks.
Partly because of his draft capital was higher than I expected. Yep. So you got that. So they took him second round. So, it shows what they feel about the player. But the Texans the receiver room is not that good. Mm-hmm. They have Brandon Cooks, obviously. But after that's pretty open. Nico Collins, you could probably who they took last year in the I think second or third round. Well, even if you like him, and I think he's he has upside, but he plays the X. He doesn't play where Mechie's going to play the slot, so he could. Mm-hmm. He has the opportunity to slot in year one and be
no arm Davis Mills,
be the starting slot receiver. And Cooks, I think they play him at the slot and on the X, so they kind of move him around. But either way. Mechie will have opportunity on the Texans. So I actually think it's a winning spot. I would take Mechie over Wandel Robinson in rookie drafts.
Oh, yeah. Where do you have him ranked?
Let me pull it up. I think it's pretty high, actually. I have never mind. Wide receiver 11. So he's right there.
Yeah. But. Like I said, I believed in the talent. I remember watching Mac Jones film last year and Devonta Smith film last year and just seeing a lot of John Mechie pop off on the tape, and it's like you're looking for. I watched every single Alabama game in 2021, and I was waiting to see like Devonta Smith pop off film, and all I kept on seeing is John Mechie. And so, me, my brain just went off. But I like the talent. I like the player. I don't like the offense for Houston, but it actually could be better than people think it is with Davis Mills if Davis Mills actually works. And John Mechie should get a lot of work in Houston. If the offense is not efficient, I don't see him having a lot of year one success, but I think there can be success in the future, especially if he's starting in the slot and playing the role that he knows how to play. So I think he definitely should be in like the wide receiver 8 to 10 range. Definitely a mid to late second round pick. I would take him there, but I like John Mechie a lot. So the next guy, big question mark. New England Patriots take Taekwon Thornton at 218.
Yep.
I as a Pats fan, I like it because we drafted speed for once in our life.
Yeah,
you're in a 4.28. Profile actually looks pretty good if you go on player profile. We didn't talk about Taekwon Thornton all that much before, so
at all.
I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I think with the quarterback and the situation in New England, I don't think this is a bad landing spot for Taekwon Thornton if you're a Thornton guy.
Yeah,
But this could very well be he's not moving anywhere in my rankings just because he went to the Patriots, and he's like if he was the wide receiver 15 or 16 pre-draft, he is the wide receiver to 15 or 16 now.
Sure. For me, he moved up because draft capital more so than the Patriots. But I actually think the Patriots is a winning landing spot too because there's an opportunity there for a role. He can if he is
on the bubble.
If he is as good as the Patriots hope he will be, and he will play the Aguilar role.
Yeah. And
hopefully he's better as a Patriots fan. So I actually like this. I moved him up on my rankings. Mm-hmm.
As
of right now, he's my wide receiver 13.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like wide receiver.
Imagine if we had drafted this kid with Tom Brady.
Yeah, I would have liked it more.
Oh, God. I will say they are kind of building a similar looking offense and offensive scheme to the one Mac Jones ran in Alabama.
Yeah.
Because Jalen Waddle he's not he wasn't just a field stretcher. He was like a slot receiver. He was good at everything. So it's like Waddle wasn't just a deep threat, but Taekwon Thornton is very fast. And I think Mac Jones will definitely take advantage of that speed. So, I don't know what it looks like. I'm not running out to draft him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up a mid-late third-round pick. Do you think he's going to be a second?
No. Okay. I drafted him in my.
You wanted one patch.
My draft, but I took him 3.7, and he was like, I probably could have got him at like 4.1 if I wanted to.
Okay. All right. Definitely think it's a winner landing spot. Don't know if it moves the needle on Taekwon Thornton, but we'll see what happens in year one for Taekwon. And
I like him as a late round value.
Yeah, as a late round value. At 220, George Pickens goes to Pittsburgh. I think it's a winner landing spot. I like it. Year one redraft. Nothing's gonna happen. I don't think for Pickens. He's gonna be the third wide receiver. He would have to. He's gonna be if he's gonna get a role. He's gonna be one of those guys that fights for a role. And then by the last 6 weeks of the season, he starts breaking out, and people are like, "Ooh, George Pickens." But this is not a guy that I'm drafting in redraft or picking up in redraft at all. I think it's a developmental guy. It's a great pick for Pittsburgh. And I think moving into the next couple years, I don't think Claypool's going to stick around in Pittsburgh. Okay. I think they're going to drop that fifth-year option on him and just run with Pickens after that. They might also be foreshadowing the Deontay Johnson situation where I believe he is becoming a free agent in the next couple of years. So that could be a situation. But as of right now, if for me, when I'm looking in, if I'm in the first round of a rookie draft, I definitely would take Pickens probably late first, early second.
Sure. Yep.
And just hang around that value. And this is all, by the way, Rick, this is all off the top of my head. This is not I'm not looking at any sheets in front of me. So I hope I'm nailing this or not, but anyway.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I personally I think it's actually a loser landing spot. Okay. I think long term you're probably right. Especially if those things play out. But for the short term future, it feels to me like Terrence Marshall's situation.
Oh yeah.
Where he's going to get buried behind Claypool and Deontay.
Yeah.
He's the clear wide receiver 3 on that team, but what is a wide receiver 3 going to do in a Pittsburgh passing offense this year? Unless you think Kenny Pickett comes in and throws 30 touchdowns, or Mitch comes in and throws 30 touchdowns, 800 yards passing.
Yeah.
He was my wide receiver 6 pre-draft. I now have him wide receiver 9, which seems low, but in a draft where you could go theoretically all receivers, he's still like an early second round pick to me in dynasty drafts. So I still like the player. Just I'm not too thrilled about the situation right away. Long term, it could play out well though.
221 Alec Pierce to Indianapolis. I think this is a good landing spot for him. I don't think there's anyone. I don't think they re-signed T.Y. Hilton, did they?
He's still on the market. Yeah.
Okay, so there's rumors that he might re-sign, but I think they are.
Even if he does, he's like.
Yeah, I know he's kind of dead at this point. But Alec Pierce is gonna be the wide receiver 2 on Indianapolis. They are a run heavy team, and I like Michael Pittman in this situation for Indianapolis, but I don't think he's gonna be anything higher than like a mid to late wide receiver 2. So Alec Pierce coming in, I think this is a decent long term shot. If you want to take that, but I'm not really super duper excited about it. I think it's like a mediocre, like if I could take meh as my winner or loser, I would take that. But I'm not jumping off the cliff to go get Alec Pierce.
So for me, this is a winner spot. I think the Colts have a lot of opportunity where he could slot in year one and produce. Other than Michael Pittman, to me, that wide receiver room is not very good.
Yep.
If Paris Campbell's healthy, maybe as a slot guy, that's it. T.Y. Hilton, as of right now, is not on the roster, and even if they bring him back, he's going to just play 5 games and be in like a specific role as a field stretcher. So Pierce can honestly come in and be the wide receiver too for Matt Ryan, which he has real potential there. Pre-draft, I had him wide receiver 11, I think, and now post-draft, I have him wide receiver 10 right behind Pickens. So to me, he's a good second-round pick with some upside and some potentially. I think year one, he's going to outproduce George Pickens, or he has the ability to, the opportunity to.
Yeah, he could. At least. All right, let's move to 222. Sky Moore to KC, wide receiver. Okay, so you know what this pick is to me, Rick? Ready? You know what this pick is to me?
Okay. I'm listening.
You remember when they drafted CEH in the first round?
Uh-oh.
That is Sky bleeping Moore. Good luck. Good luck to everyone that takes Sky Moore and KC. I didn't like him before. I still don't like him. It's a good landing spot. Okay. Winner for Sky Moore. Loser for everyone who takes him.
Okay, so that's your opinion. That's fair. And I agree with you. I thought Sky Moore was kind of getting overrated by people on Twitter.
Yeah.
But dude, that Kansas City landing spot is so hard for me to just ignore.
Yeah, no, it's true. I will definitely have, if I have picks and I can get Sky Moore, I'll try to get some shares of him.
This is gonna drive you up a wall. I have seen him go as high as the 103.
Yeah, no, that's too much. That's too much. Rick, I'm not even joking. In rookie drafts, the hype hasn't even started. Wait till the training camp videos come out
of him on the Chiefs getting touchdowns from Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely gross. The fact that I have to like Sky Moore now, because that Chiefs landing spot to me it was Packers Chiefs. The rookie who goes on the Packers and the rookie who goes on the Chiefs are going to get the 2 best landing spots, and that was Christian Watson and Sky Moore. So I had Sky Moore pre-draft as my wide receiver 9.
Mm-hmm.
I now have him as my wide receiver 6. So
okay.
Kind of gross, but he's my 109 in rookie drafts.
I don't see an extremely high ceiling for a guy like Sky Moore.
I agree with you.
And this is coming from a guy that I've seen a lot of receivers in this class, and like Wandel Robinson's one of them. And then there was another guy that Rick is really in love with, Johann Dotson.
Yeah. But that's
they're 5'10", 191, and they don't have elite speed. Their speed, I guess Sky Moore kind of has elite speed. He's in the 90th percentile, but I think Player Profiler needs to upgrade their percentile ratings for wide receivers, because with the speed that receivers are hitting now, that's not 90th percentile anymore to me. That's starting to become a slow wide receiver in this pro NFL. When you have 10 wide receivers running, but it's no longer
like if you could run a 4.41 10 years ago, that was
you were elite.
Henry Ruggs.
Elite speed, yeah. Nowadays, it's like I saw 10 guys that ran a 4.3 at the combine.
Yeah.
It's absurd. So, but for me, I think he is really fast, but he doesn't do anything well. His speed score is 60th percentile. His burst score is 50th percentile. His agility is 26th percentile. His catch radius is 22nd percentile. He's 5'10", 191 pounds. at least Tyreek Hill could burn people's faces off with his speed.
The things he does well benefits the real NFL, and it's why people like him because he had fantastic production. Is he's kind of like Olave in the sense of like he knows how to get open. He's got really good hands. You can trust him on third down, like those sorts of things. And that means he's going to be a good NFL receiver. But if we're talking fantasy, I don't think he has the sort of potential to be like a high-end talent. Yeah. Now, the Chiefs make him into that conversation because he's going to probably get a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah.
And if he can combine a lot of touchdowns with a decent amount of receptions as a slot guy, then you're looking at
but
pretty good value.
Play the slot role.
Well, that's the thing. So Juju is. So I don't know how they're going to use him, but it's just that Chiefs factor for me with Sky Moore.
Yeah, yeah. I just feel like everyone talked about the Chiefs factor with CEH when they had to replace.
Yes, but this is different because
why? Why is this different?
Because Patrick Mahomes is throwing him the ball.
Yeah, but wasn't CEH supposed to get a load
supposedly yes, but he's still a running back, right? Sky Moore is a receiver. The only thing he's going to do.
I don't know.
I get what you're saying. I do. But
it feels exactly like that, except they didn't reach on the player.
Who is in the receiving room right now for the Chiefs other than Juju and Hardman?
Well, no one, but I think Hardman can play field stretcher and Juju's going to play the slot. Sky Moore can't play the X. Like, he's too small.
Well, so
he's going to get bodied by...
I wouldn't be surprised if they put him in the Tyreek Hill role.
Who, Hardman?
No, Sky.
Oh, yeah.
Is he going to be as good as Tyreek Hill? Not even close. No. But he could play that role.
I don't know. I just think what they did with Tyreek
I get what you're saying, man.
You can't replicate. You can't replicate that. And it's not even just because I'm like, okay, Tyreek Hill is an elite player. I just mean like how fast Tyreek Hill is. His freaking nickname is literally Cheetah. Like you can't replicate that and put Sky Moore there and be like, all right, do what Hill was doing. It's not going to happen. Anyway, I like the landing spot for Sky Moore. I don't like the player, so never have. I was hoping he would go to trash landing spot so I could just swipe it away, but never mind.
Yep.
Anyway, so let's move to 223. We have Trey Mcbride. We have Trey Mcbride to the Arizona Cardinals at 223. First wide receiver off the board. I think that Trey Mcbride has a decent opportunity in a couple of years to actually be decent when it comes to the the tight end position. I'm really kind of like, obviously right now they have Zach Ertz and they have as of right now they have Zach Ertz and they have an offense where they're already kind of utilizing that position at the tight end. So Trey McBride's not going to be a guy that kind of pops off year one. I think it's going to take 2 or 3 years for him to become some form of a success. But I do like the Arizona landing spot because you're most likely going to have Kyler Murray there and a good offensive system. So I think Trey McBride definitely should be the tight end one, but he's a winner in my book.
Yeah, I agree.
Finally got me to talk about a tight end.
I know. Someone compared him to Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
On Twitter, and I was kind of like, yeah, I can see that. In terms of dynasty, where you're right, year one, I don't think we're going to see much of Trey McBride, but years 2 and 3, I think it's a very good landing spot. So I'll say it's a winner. He's got Kyler Murray. And once Zach Ertz is old, he's like 31. Once he kind of fades off, I think McBride's going to take over that spot. So long term, it's definitely a winner. Short term, though, we're not going to see much from him.
Okay. And then we have final pick of the 3rd round, James Cook, Buffalo, and then we're gonna move through some of these guys much faster. This guy, I think, and I haven't really decided yet, but based on Kenneth Walker in Seattle and the situation that Seattle Seahawks are in, James Cook might be my number 2 running back. And I don't know if that's a hot take, but I would probably slide him into that 2 slot.
Sure.
Going to Buffalo is big. They're one of the best offenses in the NFL. They clearly were trying to find a running back. They knew that was one of their needs, and then they used second-round draft capital to do that. And we're not even talking about second-round compensatory pick. We're talking about like a real second-round pick.
Pick 31 in the second
I know.
round. Yeah.
But either way, so James Cook goes to Buffalo. I don't know what their situation is going to look like with Devin Singletary, but even if they bring this guy in to play a pass-catching role with Josh Allen, I think that's going to be that in and of itself is elite value, like to me, in PPR and half PPR leagues,
yep.
which most people are. Like that is elite value. And then if they start to feed him the ball on the ground, kind of what they were doing with Singletary this year, he could definitely become, a high-end RB2 in a lot of senses, maybe an RB1 with that pass-catching value. So I think the ceiling is kind of high for James Cook in Buffalo. But it could very well drop because of the player and the situations here and because of his, the limitations that James Cook has had that kept him kind of out of that top 5 conversation at the running back position. There are situations where his floor could be just bottomed out, cut in 2 years.
Yeah.
So I think it could go either way. I don't know that, because of that variation, I don't know that I want to use a first-round pick in a rookie draft on James Cook, which is probably where he's going to go, so I wouldn't have a lot of shares of him. But if he ends up going in the second round, I'll definitely take a shot on that. I would be like, okay,
yeah,
that's a good pick. I say he's my running back too, so he should go in the second round, but in this class, I'm probably not taking a running back anyway. So I do like James Cook. Like, if there's an opportunity for you to get him, I would, because I think he is going to be the second best running back in this class based on the landing spot. But we'll see. Winner location, though.
Yeah, there's no question he's a winner location. And I like James Cook pre-draft. He was my RB5. And what you said, if that happens, I think I think that will happen. He's going to be the pass-catching back for sure in a high-powered offense with Josh Allen. So those are all good things, and to me, at least worth a second-round pick. My problem with putting him as my RB2, I don't even have him as my RB3. He's my RB4. Pre-draft, I had him as my RB5, so he does move up to RB4. But one of the reasons I love the Buffalo landing spot was because if you get a guy who could overtake Singletary, then he could be like the workhorse type back, right? A Buffalo on a high-powered offense. The problem with that, to me, with James Cook is I don't think he's that type of player.
Yeah.
He's profiles as a third down kind of guy, a James White type of player.
Why would you spend a second-round pick on a third down back?
Because the Bills
get running backs anywhere, Rick.
Yep. I don't know.
I don't think they're drafting him to be a second-round running back. That's my point. I don't think they're drafting him to be a third down back. No.
You think they're drafting him to be a workhorse?
I don't think they're drafting him to be a workhorse, but I think they're drafting him to be the featured running back. I think that Singletary will have a role, and he'll probably be third down back. But what Josh Allen is and what the Bills are, and if James Cook is the pass catching back, he's going to be out there all game.
Yeah.
So I mean
that's true, but it just kind of it's like CEH. I mean, not to the extent, but Clyde went to the Chiefs. He pre-draft, he was everybody's RB5 and a pass catching specialist. Those are the Chiefs, and I took the cheese. We all took the cheese, and then on the Chiefs, he just doesn't succeed to the level that we wanted him to because they don't really know how to use him. And it's a great offense, and it's Andy Reid, and they still don't really use him right. In college, James Cook, his career high in 15 games was 113 carries. So he's never had a big workload in college.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be a 200 carry type running back in the NFL. Now, could you tell me Kamara's not a 200 carry kind of guy?
No.
Could he be like that? I think, sure, maybe that's his ceiling.
Yeah.
That's a really good ceiling to have, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I still will take James Cook. I will draft him second round. I think I have him in a 12 team as my 201. So if he's there in the second round, I will take him, but I don't think I want to spend a first round pick on him.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's move to the third round very quickly. Velos Jones Jr., a good landing spot,
but a horrible player.
Horrible player. I don't really like that. Honestly, this kind of looks like to me like a player where they draft him to be on special teams.
Yeah, which is so disgusting.
For Chicago, yeah. But there's nothing there in Chicago. And to all the people who are continually all my dynasty leagues continually asking for Darnell Mooney, I'm not giving him away.
I'm definitely not. In the one league I have him,
that?
He's going to get 180,000 targets.
I know, seriously. So yeah, Velos Jones Jr. I'm not even going to look at him as a player. There was a guy last year that got drafted in the third round, and everyone was like, "Oh, should we look at him?" And
was it doing Eskridge?
Yeah, something like that. Eskridge, and he just was garbage. So and then there was also the really fast guy from the Browns. What's his name? Anthony. Schwartz.
Anthony. Schwartz, yeah.
So yeah, this guy's going to be at best a fringe fourth round pick. But if he makes it out of your rookie draft, I would snag and stash in my tax.
Sure. Yeah, he's a tax squad stash. Why not?
Jelani Woods to Indianapolis, third
round.
I
actually like this one.
This is a good landing spot for him, but I feel like this is a really big we need a blocker for Jonathan Taylor kind of pick. Sure,
I do agree with that, but he's also he's 6'7" and ran a 4.6 and had 55 catches with 8 touchdowns in college last year. So he's got receiving upside. He's got a lot of upside, and I like the landing spot. So I actually do like this for Woods, personally.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Desmond Ridder, quarterback to the Atlanta Falcons. We were talking about this yesterday, the value of these players at the quarterback position getting drafted here, and we're going to talk about a couple of them, three of them. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I think Atlanta's a good landing spot. They need a quarterback, and their only option right now is Mariota, so there could be an opportunity where Ridder goes in if Mariota just completely flails and sucks.
Sure, yep.
But there is also no value tied to this pick, and I feel like third round, I still think Malik Willis is QB2. I thought he was QB1 before, but now he's QB2 because Pickett went in the first round. I think I would have to say Ridder 3 and then Carroll 4 if I was doing quarterback rankings right now. But I think this is a good landing spot for Ridder, but I don't like the pick value. So because of that, I'm going to make Desmond Ridder a loser.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's probably a loser because he went in the third round for all the things you said, and they're not attached to him. I actually have him as my QB4 just because of that. And to me, my whole thing was Ridder was if he was going to get drafted as a first rounder, that would change my mind. So even though Atlanta is a good landing spot, he has a chance to play. That third round draft capital is tough for me. Just because I wasn't super high on the player anyway. Mm-hmm. So,
okay.
Yeah, I agree with you, though.
Greg Dulcich to Denver, basically replacing Noah Fant. I don't mind the pick, but I don't know that there's going to be opportunity year one for him.
I think it's winner long-term and maybe winner in real life, but I don't know if it's a winner dynasty.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, tight ends are tight ends. You'll find out eventually. So I would still take them as a third round pick early, and if you need tight ends, kind of just stash.
He went 408 in my rookie draft, so
so that's not a bad location. So anyway,
it's not.
Malik Willis to Tennessee, saddest pick of all time for me because I. Really wanted Willis to work out in the NFL. I was a huge Malik Willis fan. And obviously, third round kind of blows. To Tennessee, I think it's a good landing spot, but I think he's a loser because he fell to the third round.
Yes.
And Tennessee has no tie to him. I definitely think that the two teams that drafted Ridder and Willis are drafting them as we have a guy right now, but maybe in 1 or 2 years, if we want to try to give this guy the keys and see what we can do for one season, we'll do that. But I just don't see much upside for Malik Willis, especially if teams didn't want to draft him in the second round or the first round. And it also could have been just because this year, with the movement of the quarterback position and there being other guys available like Baker Mayfield and Jimmy Garoppolo, there's options out there for teams that are better than taking a high selection on a quarterback. So it might just be a situation where they knew, hey, we like the guy, we want him to be our future quarterback, but we don't we don't think that anyone's going to take him, so we're not just going to waste our value, and they just let him fall. So that could be the case, but I'd love to see Malik Willis start for Tennessee. That could be a game changer for their team because I believe in the talent. But third round, no value tied to him. He might not even start in the NFL at this point.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I'm still drafting him in my rookie drafts. He's still my QB too. Obviously, he's not a first-round pick anymore. He's probably like somewhere in the second round. I've seen him. He went as high as the 201, but I've seen him go as low as like the 208.
Yeah.
So he's kind of all over the place. It depends on when you want to take that risk, because if he does eventually play, you're getting a steal.
Right.
But there's a chance that you're just throwing away a second-round pick. So
okay,
it was a very risky pick. Like the player, but obviously it's a loss because of where he went.
Jalen Tolbert, 324 to Dallas in the third round, wide receiver.
It's not bad.
It's not a bad landing spot. I don't like the player, though, so I'm not really
I'm
him.
not crazy sold on the player, but I do actually like the landing spot. So he ended up moving up in my rankings, but not too high. He's like wide receiver 14 or something.
I would say if he's like a late fourth, early third, he might be a guy that I would take as a stash. And
that's where he's going. He's going third round. So
yeah. 327, Rashad White, running back, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They needed a guy to replace Ronald Jones. And so they do that with Rashad White. I talked about his profile. I talked about how I liked his pass catching abilities. I talked about he's a decent running back. I think there's some good things there for Tampa. I actually like him better than the Keyshawn Vaughn pick from 2 years ago or 1 year ago.
Agreed.
Agreed. I think this is a better pick than that. I think he's going to have an opportunity in the Tampa Bay offense, but this is still Leonard Fournette's backfield. So if you were concerned that they drafted this guy, I'm not concerned about Fournette losing a whole ton of work to a rookie running back.
No, I'm not either, but I do like this spot a lot because it just shows you how weak I think this class is, because he's my RB3. And I took him at the 208 in a 12 team. So in a 10 team, pretty much third round. But I do like it because Fournette has a history of missing games. He's never played a full season. White obviously is a receiving back mostly, but he can play all three downs. So he fits what Tampa wants to do. He fits what Tom Brady wants to do. And if Fournette gets hurt at all, White has a real chance of being very good. So year one, he's going to at least be a very, very good handcuff. And Fournette, I believe, is only on a 1-year deal. So we'll see how it plays out. But I do like this. So I think it's a winner spot.
Yeah. All right. San Francisco drafts running back Terrion Davis-Price. This is just a role player, backup running back, to be honest with you.
Special teams.
Loser landing spot for him, and I don't like the player. Matt Carroll to the Carolina Panthers, quarterback, fourth quarterback off the board, third in the third round. Yep. Carolina, I think they're using the same mentality that Tennessee was and the same mentality that Atlanta was. Draft a guy. We don't have a quarterback right now, or we have a guy that we're going to sit with for a couple of years. Like Carolina might go after Baker Mayfield. There have been rumors of that happening. Or Jimmy Garoppolo, so they're not ruling that out. But I think Carroll probably has, of these three guys that we talked about here in the third round, I think Ritter and Carroll definitely have the better shot of getting at least a start this year to see what they are than Malik Willis. But yeah, I didn't really like the player before, and I don't like this is a good landing spot for him, but I don't think with third round value makes him a loser at this point. So all quarterbacks after this point are losers.
Right. In terms of that, he is a loser. And I said pre-draft though that I would kind of determine my rankings for the bottom quarterbacks based on landing spot and capital. Yeah. And they all got similar draft capital. I actually have Matt Carroll as my QB3 after Willis. I have him ahead of Ritter just because to me Carolina, he could really start this year, even as a third round pick, because Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold. So if he can just win the backup job, he's got a good chance of playing this year. And then, we'll see where it goes. He probably, my guess would suck. and then they draft someone next year or trade someone next year. But if he's going to at least have an opportunity to showcase what he can do, and that alone, I think, makes him the QB3 for me.
Okay. Brian Robinson goes to Washington. I don't really know what Washington plans on doing with Brian Robinson. I mean, obviously running backs drafted in the
change of pace.
Probably a change of pace back. But a lot of people have said this is going to really damage Antonio Gibson.
Not really.
I don't know if that's going to be the case, but Brian Robinson doesn't really do anything well, so I don't think this is a good landing spot for him. If you believed in Brian Robinson to have upside.
No, it's not. It's not a great landing spot for him, I would say.
335, David Bell to Cleveland, wide receiver. I don't like the player, don't like the landing spot.
I love the landing spot. That's one I disagree with you on. I don't think he's going to
get work.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance he won't, but he has the opportunity to, because the guys he would have to beat out is Anthony Schwartz. And
that's fair.
Because you remember Deshaun Watson is there now, so it changes how we view Cleveland, in my opinion. It changes how I view the Cleveland wide receiver room. So after Amari Cooper, the wide receiver 2 on that team is Peoples Smith or whatever the hell is it? Peoples Smith Jones or whatever. Jones Smith, whatever.
I don't think
he's the wide receiver 2.
Donovan's Peoples Jones.
Okay. The wide receiver 3 is Anthony Schwartz.
An extra name in there.
David Bell has an opportunity to, in my opinion, beat out either one of those guys.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
the landing spot is a good landing spot winner there, but I don't like the player,
so that's fair. So
Jeremy Ruckert went after that to the New York Jets tight end. I think just filling out the roster at that point. Ruckert's not a bad player, but it's going to take like 2-3 years if he's ever going to be a success. So
agreed.
And then San Francisco took Danny Gray, wide receiver. That's another no-go.
Yeah, he was like a wide receiver on a website that I was using for some of the research tools. They had him as wide receiver 33 pre-draft.
Wow.
So he was a projected 7th round pick on their website.
Yikes. And then I don't want to spend time on the 4th, 5th, 6th round and 7th round. There's not too many guys. I did want to hit on a couple. Damian Pierce went to Houston. That is a good landing spot for him, but as a 4th round pick makes it a little bit tough for him to get in and get the job. It was a 402, so basically maybe a 3rd round pick if you want to say that. You also got Isaiah Spiller 418 to the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a horrible landing spot for Spiller. He's going to be virtually useless in the Chargers.
I actually kind of like it.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to just tell you really quickly. I don't like that he was a 4th round pick, but the Chargers, because who's the running back that absolutely sucks on that team that they used last year? Josh Kelly?
Yeah.
Can he beat out Josh Kelly?
Probably.
Can he beat out Justin Jackson?
Probably.
Okay, so that leaves him and Eckler, and then Eckler is a passing back who's getting old. Right?
That's
so
fair.
Not this year. I'm not telling you this year. Okay. But he has a path. There's a path for Spiller.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying it's like a bad selection.
No, yeah.
But like, if you want to take him in a dynasty draft, but
he's my RB6.
Like, there's a chance that so he goes out this year, he might win those 2 jobs. He's already got an uphill battle there, and then you have Austin Eckler for probably the next 1, 2, 3 years, possibly. Yep. And then when he's gone, I would guess that the Chargers say, okay, we need to go get a running back. Yeah. So Spiller's chances are year 1. Hoping that Austin Eckler gets hurt and you beat out the other guys. Like, that would be his opportunity to showcase his skills, which I don't think he's going to have that opportunity. I don't even know if he's going to beat out the 2 running backs. So
I'm just saying, at this point in the draft, once he got into the 4th round and passed Houston, the Chargers to me
chances. Like,
wasn't like a bad
spot. If you want to take them in your drafts, that's fine, because there's not a bad opportunity. I just don't think it's a good So
no, I agree with you.
Like, if he starts. If he was a 2nd round pick,
I have White, James Cook, and Pierce all ahead of Spiller. So,
we have Calvin Austin to Pittsburgh. That's I think useless. I honestly, useless.
That's
I think he's gonna get cut.
Or that.
I think he'll be like the 4th, 5th wide receiver at best. So he's useless. But that's a name that was flying around, Calvin Austin. And then there's no one else really in this round that I would say
no,
I have any kind of feelings about. 5th round guy I wanted to touch on was Sam Howell. Howell was, sheesh, for some in this conversation, even the QB2.
I did that for fantasy purposes, but I said
not only
I said it would change based on capital because I had no idea where he
some
would go.
people think that because he wasn't even the fifth quarterback taken off the board, by the way.
He was sixth.
He was the sixth. So some people think that, and you know what this kind of reminds me of, and not that this is what's going to happen to this player. God, like, people are going to take this way out of context. But going back to, because this hasn't happened in a long time, going back to the 2000, I think it was 2000 draft with Tom Brady, he was actually supposed to be like a third round pick or maybe a second round pick, and people like let him slip and slip and slip and slip and slip because no one wanted a quarterback until the sixth round when the Patriots took him. So could this be Washington's late round quarterback?
Are you saying Sam Howell's Tom Brady?
I said no, definitely not. But it could be one of those situations where he was projected as a second or third round value for most, and he could end up as this, as like, I mean, you have Carson Wentz there. The guy is fragile and blows. So
so if you told me pre-draft Sam Howell in Washington, I actually would have liked that.
Yeah.
Fifth round though.
No,
it's so very difficult to
as a fifth round value, Sam Howell is dead. Like, he is a backup quarterback career.
Yes.
And so he might get a chance to start. And if he does, that could go well for Washington.
Yes.
Like, I think he's got talent, but yeah, at this point, this just shows you what people think of the quarterback class. There was, probably 6 or 7 picks prior to this Washington. Just let it run. Your guy, Khalil Shakir, do you like that landing spot?
I do. Fifth round is kind of tough, though. But he's going to be the wide receiver, 4 on that team, with Cole Beasley potentially leaving. So when Cole Beasley leaves, he has an opportunity to be the slot receiver because that's where he plays, the slot. So, he has a chance to replace Cole Beasley, but fifth round is kind of tough.
Yeah, I agree. And then outside of that, I just wanted to touch on Sam Howell because I don't think anyone else. There could be some Antonio Brown hits here in the 5th, 6th, 7th round where, a team just gets lucky. I like this guy taken by Jacksonville, 5'11", Snoop Connor. Love that name.
I love the name, but
the player,
he's going to cut.
Yeah. So a lot of these guys are just going to get cut. There's really no one else that fell, but the biggest thing for me in this draft, looking at it from, because we got to get this over with, but the biggest thing for me with this draft, looking at it from a larger perspective, is the quarterback position definitely was not valued, and the running back position was definitely not valued in this draft either. It was very weak at those two spots. Tight end was decent, and wide receiver was clearly the way to go. There were so many wide receivers taken in this draft, like so many. And I think a lot of people are going to get caught up in the Christian Watson, Wandel Robinson, John Mechie, Taekwon Thornton, George Pickens, Sky Moore, Alec Pierce conversation. I think all of them are going to blow. Like, honestly, I think there's going to be like 5 hits in this draft.
Yeah, that's fair. I think if you're going to have hits, it will be receiver. Yep. There's a real chance that there's like 2 good running backs, 1 good quarterback, and then I'll give you like 5 or 6 receivers. But that's fair.
This is why I traded all of my 2022 picks. Most of them. Most of the high ones. I have like 4th rounders, but those guys are going to get cut regardless of what draft I'm in. So, yeah, there you go. NFL draft landing spots, winners and losers. We'll see you next week, guys.
See you.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.